traders. Gotta drop that intro.
Governments lie all the time. Oh, not just the American government. It's just in the nature of governments. Well, they have to lie. And since they don't represent the people, and since they act against the interests of the people, the only way they can hold power is if they lie to the people.
Vinny Paz.
They told people the truth, they wouldn't last very long.
It's a great track by Vinny Paz. In this video, I feel like such a weirdo saying that, like such a cliche YouTube kid. Oh, hey subscribers, thanks for tuning in. In today's video, it's just so not me, but I do like helping people, and that's really all that I hope that comes of this channel, to be honest. But messing around with some pivot points and things, some indicators. The VWAP's a nice indicator. Pivot points are a nice indicator. You can customize them quite a bit, but let's just go ahead. And volume under Heikin Ashi is very nice for reading waves. So we have that wave 1, boom, kicks in right here. You can see a little wave 2 setting off right here without even looking at the volume. Right? Let me hide the volume or the price. We're hiding the price entirely. We're just looking at volume here. You see we have wave 1, and where was that? Right here. Wave 1, boom. Here's wave 2. So watch, I'll mark it. I can tell you what price is doing without even having the price on. Here's wave 1, dropping, and then we're kicking off wave 3, basically right here. Extra confirmation here though, and then here's wave 4 into 5 at latest, if not back here, and then we have a completion. And now let's just go ahead and put the chart back on. If I can remember how. There we go. Just reading the volume. And by the time that last bar comes in, then you then get the offset. Volume kind of diverges. Boom, right? So we have wave 1, stopped here, wave 2, 3, right? Late confirmation. This is a super conservative entry. And you have a little ting in there. Alright? If I drop to a lower time frame, it'll probably look a lot better. But nice little pullbacks there. Ting. And we're off. But yeah, so Heikin Ashi with volume. It's very nice, especially on the hourly chart. See that? We got a big little spike of volume here. Calling our bottom. We're starting to wick out. You see that in the volume, right? Boom, we get that wave. And then right there we're down. We're back in business here. We got a little stoppage here. And then we're right back in business, all green, green, green. Boom. Put in that big spike here. And that's what we've done since, right? Hours of a bit of a pullback. Back into these previous highs. So, pretty effective. Not at all what I wanted to make this video about though. What I was going to talk about today is that you can I might talk about a few things here, but I find people try to really rely on these indicators, and unless you're, being dynamic with it, switching things up, depending on what's taking place, you're going to get different results with your indicators. Alright, so depending on the settings you have and all that stuff. But what I do like about what I was going to talk about today is right here, this website in particular. This is pivottrading.co, and I'll put a link down in the description. Very handy. They do have pivot points, Camarilla. You just come into the calculators here. You got Camarilla. The Elliott Wave thing sucks. Elliott Wave in general kind of sucks, but we then have Gann squares of 9. You have more of a positional Gann where you need to enter in 3 points, which is a lot like the pivot points here. Right, you have the high, low, and the close. So you can put on candles and come to the monthly, and you can work your way down. Whatever kind of time frame you want to look at, it's up to you to create your own trade plan. I can give you profitable trading strategies on any time frame. How you want to engage that is totally up to you. But taking it from the monthly here, and this was our previous candle, right? Our previous candle. So there's the low. I'm just gonna grab that, copy that, boom, boom, there we go. There's the close. And here is the high. Very simple to do. Pop that in your pivot point calculator, and look at that. We've got a pivot point of 85. I'll just come here and pop that on there, and boom. Look at that. So, just to give you an idea, we were here and here. Just drop it down to the daily. This would be our pivot point, right? This second point is when we kind of were able to establish that. Let me go ahead and put a third, indicating the start of this month. This candle, this would have came in right around here, or right around this area, on the daily at least, and it, as you can see, that pivot point we've maintained well above that. I mean, that's just kind of, even if you were to just take the close from before, right? The close of that candle is down here somewhere. But yeah, and you go ahead and pop in the rest of these targets here. I'll do that from the monthly where I laid it. Boom. We got 95, taking us all the way up there. 92, 88, and 87. So there's 92. We got 88. 88 and 87. So these are probably the biggest, most simplest targets that you can get. Alright, because this is when we would have been able to calculate that, and since then we've blasted straight up there, right? Drop it down to like the 4 hour. This, we would have been right back in here, coming in here, closing up in here, and then putting in a nice engulfing candle, a nice big momentum type candle on the 4 hour, followed by another big push testing these highs. So you're certainly only thinking long at this point, right? Why are you gonna? with this type of system, there's absolutely no reason to be doing anything otherwise. You know, the trend is your friend. We've been moving upwards. You know, we've violated this kind of minor level support. We're making highs, right? We're no longer making lows. We've made a higher low here, higher high, higher low, higher high. So upward momentum candles, and then you have some nice targets, right? Boom, we hit that. What do? We structurize here. You can even hold, you know, roll stops. Say you get involved in here somewhere, you can have stops wherever, you know, stops even nice and tight down here, and say you were lucky enough to get involved in this play. You know, keep your stops here. By the time this structurizes here, maybe roll your stops here, and you've just been riding that out. And some nice, you know, next targets are up a little higher here at the 92 for this particular pair. Now, that's just the pivot points, the Camarilla. You'll find give you a whole lot more key levels to be watching. Right, I'm just copying and paste those levels. And the high, low, and the close, and find those values. Using a Tor browser right now to hide IPs, and tends to be a little slow, but you can see we've got basically 82, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way up to 89. From 82 to 89. We'll pop back up to the monthly. And by all means, you know, so you can label them. You know, come in here and put the text on, label which one's what. So 89 was the max there. I don't even bother labeling half the time. I'll just give it a different look, give it a different color. Good enough. And boom. So that was the one at 89, right? So everything else is the downward from there. That was our max pivot point for that, which is plenty high enough as it is. Because I mean, look at the candle we had. Right, these pivot points. Sorry, this yellow one is a Camarilla. These pivot points are really pretty extreme targets, right? So it's you want to take that with a grain of salt. So if you're looking, I really like the Camarilla points, to be honest, because they tend to be a lot more realistic, and you know, a lot of the times you just don't really hit those pivot points as you will these Camarillas, and you'll find the Camarilla points are mostly just your prime numbers, or you know, odds and even numbers. It just counts straight up from a certain point, and those even handle numbers, they're quite popular. So I'll just put on those few there. And where were we? We were on the 4 hour before, and we were kind of monitoring this. We can see you're closing there. Here's some even more immediate targets. We blow right through that though. Maybe a nice place to roll your stop up to, right? That's ultimately the main priority when you're designating any sort of level. This is just something to manage your money off of. So you know, say I got long in here, and price starts to reverse and close, starts making more closes below. Right, maybe multiple closes. We don't get two. I mean, we get 2 closes below the level here, but that's really nothing. We immediately get right up there. You get 1 close here, but really nothing else beyond that. But if we did start closing below here, this is kind of the level you want to be managing off of, or whatever level, right? You don't want to be pushing it and saying, oh, well, maybe we'll come back up to it by the time it comes all the way down here, right? You want to be managing money off of the level that you've designated. And right now we're kind of in the middle of nowhere as far as these pivot points and Camarillas go. I do like the Gann square of 9, and personally I'll use that on either the 3 hour, So this is a pretty nice spot right here. And you just want to take the close. So come in here. Just make the line a little different here. And I'm just taking the close. Pop that in there. Gann square of 9 calculator. And if you remember from my other video, my sacred geometric Gann, this is really the square of 9, right? It's a big square, and it also has little squares in it, right? So boxing the market out, cornering the market, all very good kind of mentalities to have. So nevertheless, here we are on the Gann square of 9, taken from the 3 hour on that recent fractal low, and giving us some nice targets. There's kind of the max target from this low, right? That would be your max buy target if you're getting involved in a buy here. This could be some super nice conservative targets. You want to see what happens, how this candle closes. We get a nice burst, boom, taking profit there as you're breaking into new highs. Just very simple stuff, just managing money off of designated levels from what price has done. I do find that the Gann square of 9 calculator works nicely on quite a few time frames actually, but this one here, the 15-minute chart, is actually another nice level for the Gann square of 9. I'm just taking the most recent fractal. I would say you know, there's kind of fractals here, but this is kind of the latest fractal low, right, on the 15-minute chart. I mean, you know, if the trend's going to change, people would say, no, this is your fractal, or it's down here. But this is kind of the most recent fractal low, right? We had a high, pulled back to a low, tested highs, we didn't make a higher high, tested lows, we didn't make a lower low from here. So we're kind of in the middle. To me, this is our most recent fractal low. So just want to make sure I do have that level there. Pop that in the Gann square 9 calculator. All very handy tools, these. Sacred geometry. Given a bad name, but sacred geometry nevertheless. And my Tor browser is being a piece of shit, so I'm gonna have to wait for that to load. Nice reaction off of this level, which if you recall in the previous video I made there, I had designated this as a reversal point based off of these Fibonacci confluence levels here. And from what I believe to be wave 1, and then a running flat coming in at the 1.618 there, and also the 1-to-1 ratio here, lining up with perfect confluence on that 1.618. So all sorts of nice levels going on there. I did want this, let me refresh this, maybe we'll get some better luck here. Come on, Tor browser, you can do it. Oh, that was the level. Hey, there we go, okay. Alrighty, so in here, I'm just gonna, this was the fractal low we were taking, I do believe. Yep, this guy right here. Just double check those numbers. Yep, okay. So we'll go ahead and paste that in there. Boom. You can see that's giving us a high, much higher, at the 92, right up there. And then you can go ahead, these 15-minute Gann levels, these Gann square 9s, just up to 15-minute recent fractal low or fractal high. Just whatever your most recent fractal is. Grab that Gann square of 9, off of the lowest close or the highest close, not the highest high or the lowest low, but the close, and you'd be surprised. So I'm just going to plot those levels that we're getting here, because if you recall there on the 3 hour, I'll go back to it in just a second once I plot these last couple. Okay, so we're right at that point now. Next would be when we originally had the buy. Just down here. And then we're selling from here. Alright, but this, you really don't need this particular level on, because, I mean, it's kind of invalid. You would just take this, right? This would be our recent fractal. If this were to just drop from here, we would be taking this here for targets. But if you recall on the 3 hour, I was taking this fractal low here on the Gann square of 9, and this was the absolute highest target. So I wanted to get a little bit closer and to get some higher targets with the Gann square of 9 calculator. So I popped in here to the 15 and calculated that, and there we go. And you can see just within a few minutes, I'll get rid of the Fibonacci's because that's kind of cheating. But just within a few minutes, I've gone from you know, the monthly, applied some Camarilla pivot points, and then worked my way down, straight down to the 3 hour. Actually, applied that just that one level, this one here. All right, and let me make it a little bigger, something like that. And then, by all means, go ahead and label them. I'm just lazy, but. And then right straight down here to the 15-minute chart. Grab that recent low, and we're in business. And like I said, these levels just really come into play. They really, for whatever reason, really get respected quite well. It's all about where you're taking it, right? What you're measuring. And as far as the Camarilla and pivot points go, I like to just take the monthly. The previous monthly candle and calculate that. But by all means, you can take, you know, the previous monthly candle, you can take the previous weekly and daily, and even 4 hour, and just keep crunching it down. You're gonna have a ton of levels on your chart. But what are we? We're here on the hourly, and you can see just a lot of respect for these levels. Came up and kind of got caught on it a little bit, dropped a little bit. Did not close and make lower lows though, really, from these lows right here, or these lows right here even. Didn't even touch those lows. I think we might have touched them. But, alright, so, where was I? Up here. These lows here. Kind of a double bottom going on right here. And just continuing higher. Kind of in the middle of nowhere on those higher levels, right? The next kind of monthly level is up here. So that's again why I dropped down, calculate kind of the intraday levels. Got myself in here from this low, and it's since rallied straight up in there. And you know, just crunching fractals even lower, getting even more specific levels here. Like I said, the 3 hour Gann square of 9 and the 15-minute Gann square of 9 is extremely effective. And you know, if you're a scalper, or you know, if you've ever put a position on in Forex and risked too much, you know that just this kind of move right here on the hourly, just one little level right here, was 10 pips or something, 20 pips, yeah. So you know, a 50 pip move. There's a lot of money that can be made in this type of play. So manage your money accordingly. You know, obviously the safe bet with just this type of system would be to wait until you're hitting a monthly level or one of your higher time frame structures, and then getting involved. But you know, bidding it up to there. Always a safe bet, but I thought I'd share this this website here, and again I'll put the link in the video for the Gann square of 9, which has the pivot points and Camarilla attached to it as well. And you know, while I'm in here, just a little nugget for the end of this video. Sure. The metaf.net website, you've probably heard me talk about this before, is an excellent resource for the currency index. And you can see that right around here, this, what is this, the Japanese yen has been dropping dramatically. So if you have a look at, you know, from this point, the Japanese yen against the New Zealand dollar, or I believe that's the Aussie dollar, is going to be absolutely crushing. So let's go look at that. Not sure if I have them in my... Yeah, so we're going to see the New Zealand Jappy is going to be skyrocketing over the last period of time. Well, certainly just recently. What else was it? The New Zealand Jappy and the Aussie Jappy. So there we have the New Zealand Jappy. You can see that's been super bullish here since for all of November really, but you know, more specifically just lately. Right back into these Gann levels here, but these are actually Gann applied levels, not really what I was just showing you. But what was the other pair there? It was the Aussie Jappy. And that too, Aussie has been crushing the Jappy, doing the same thing, right? Basically the same chart that we were just looking at. So the index is definitely a nice tool to be using to gain that strength or weakness. And yeah, as you can see, things are breaking above. Let's just have a look only at those pairs, only at those currencies. Really nice. Even from way back here, Jappy's breaking below, the New Zealand dollar is breaking above, and so is the Aussie. So as of, you know, the 20th, and we'll go back further, go to the hourly. I think it starts yet on the 5-minute or something. Going back a little further now, this would have been our break here. Moving straight up as the Aussie's just breaking above on the 4-hour now, so maybe a really nice time to be getting involved with the Aussie on a buy, because it has been working its way from really the, you know, the super negative. It's been working its way up. You know, some people like to play it like this, right? So if when they see it breaking down, they'll be selling this currency, and when they see it, you know, coming up, they'd be buying the currency. Personally, I like to wait for it to be super overextended. So, you know, super overbought or super oversold, if you will. It's the only time you'll hear that terminology come out of my mouth. You know, for example, the Swissy here was up to +4. Anytime you're getting up into +3, +4, or -3, -4, is definitely a reversal time for that currency. And you know, if you were able to go ahead and catch the Swissy at this point in time, and you know, at this point in time, that the Swissy would have been best paired against, I would say, you know, the New Zealand and the Aussie at that point. Some nice pips there. You may be getting faked out here, but certainly Swissy, just holding for a while, right? This is a couple months it's taken for the Swissy to come back to equilibrium. All right, let me just get rid of the rest of those up there and just have a good look at the Swissy. You can see, what was that? Before October. So before we even hit October, Swissy was strong, and we've been selling that since before October. We just came down to the equilibrium now. We've came back up and tested these previous levels. This would be another great time to look to sell the Swissy and to see it drop even further here. And as the Aussie is just breaking above, you may see it drop below here and consolidate, but typically you will see, very similar to what you see here. But you could also see something like this as well, where it pops up, then drops, and kind of consolidates at the equilibrium before continuing on. So trading those overbought and oversold levels are extremely effective, and this is how my accuracy has gone through the roof. I don't really need to look at a pair or its price action at all when I can just come in here, pop these on, and I can see what's strong, what's weak. This was a while ago that I was saying, we need to be buying the New Zealand dollar. I've been buying the New Zealand dollar like crazy, and it's been paying off because I've seen that it's at such a negative point. The New Zealand dollar happens to pay more than the Aussie dollar, but it was right in line with it as well. And the pairs that I was looking at were the Swissy, and it was the CAD, and it was I don't trade the pound, but also the US dollar. But the prime suspect was the Swissy there. And by the time this was peaked out here, the Swissy had already dropped below, so the CAD and the pound really were my two kind of main players there. Let me go ahead and just remove some of it to try to really show you what I was looking at. Get rid of the US dollar there. So this is a beautiful thing right here. Right here. You can see the CAD over, right up at 2.5. Well, these are super low at 4, -4, -3. This is what you want to be looking to get involved in, especially with this straight shot up, right? And again, on the pound, basically the same thing, straight shot up into, kind of overbought, getting into that overbought area. I really do like to see it hit 3 or 4. 3 at least typically, but once you see that it starts breaking lows and starts to make new lows here, this is when you want to be getting involved, and you can go look at the New Zealand CAD, the New Zealand pound, or pound New Zealand, whatever, and the same as the Aussie CAD and the pound Aussie, and you'll see that the New Zealand dollar and the Aussie dollar have been absolutely just dominating, right? So let's go Aussie CAD. I haven't even looked at these. You can see they're not even in my watch list on this particular account. And you can see the Aussie dollar has been crushing the CAD. And what did I say, just before October? All right, there's us just into October when it starts to pull back up. All right. And you want to wait, wait until you see some confirmation, when you see some directional change, right? Calling the top and the bottom of a market is the hardest thing to do, and you really do need the chart to calculate exact finish points. But just, in general, overbought, oversold, which currency is strong, which currency is weak. These ones were super weak, and you want to see some equilibrium come in. You want to just see them gain a little bit of strength and come back to that equilibrium. It's such an underused term in the markets. The markets are constant, and all things are constantly finding equilibrium. Right? Your breath is a great example, right? So, in order to maintain blood circulation, you need a nice balance of inhaling oxygen to the brain and a nice balance of exhaling. You can't just hold it all in, right? And you do need some oxygen, right? So equilibrium is huge. And the currency index, metaf.net especially here, is a wonderful site to observe that that which currencies are strong and which are weak. But to stay super conservative, the first week of October or so, right around here, once you start breaking above, and this little push above right here is telling me that it's go time. And so that was the Aussie CAD. Let's go look at the pound Aussie. It's going to be the same thing, down. The Aussie crushing, right? Here on the 4 hour, the pound has been getting crushed by the Aussie. So there's the Aussie there's the Aussie against the CAD and the pound. So let's go look at the New Zealand CAD. If you've been keeping track of my work anytime lately, you already know, and I was just going through this. Obviously, the New Zealand CAD has been crushing. The New Zealand has been crushing the CAD, and the pound New Zealand is going to be down, polar opposite. See that? There's some beautiful pips to be made in these plays right here, right? And if you're waiting for structure to break, getting involved somewhere in this area on a sell, that's a lot of pippage. So, and it takes longer. It's taken a good couple months now, right? That's one thing that I find people just have no vision for whatsoever in the markets is they'll be short one day, they'll make some money, and then the very next day they think it's time to go long, and they're trying to call a reversal or something. That's a mix of inexperience and ego, thinking that that you're in tune with nature and that you can tell, you can sense it, it's reversing, or you can see the candlestick pattern or something that most cases no. Here we are on the 4 hour, and you can go to any 4 hour chart and look at it. There's a month that it's moved in one direction. Here's a couple months that we moved in another direction. Here's another few months that we moved in. Here's like 3 months of a massive move in a direction, right? And this massive move, this is sideways garbage where you can be getting stopped out, or you need to be trading a range. Realistically, is what you need to be doing in these situations, is trading that range in there. But these massive plays of no pullbacks and no stressing you out. Say you got in a short here, by the time it comes back up, you're stressing. You've given back all this money. And the way to capitalize on these straight fast plays is to use some sort of an index, some sort of a strength and weakness meter. And the currency index from Metaf is brilliant for that. All right, and this is just the most recent example. Just popping those all back on, kind of see where we're at right now. The highest, most overbought is only sitting at just under 3, so not terribly. The New Zealand dollar, you may see that pop up a little bit more, and in which case the New Zealand CAD would probably go up to 92. But this is kind of your number one currency that you're going to be looking to sell in the near future, is the New Zealand dollar. And currencies to be looking to buy, well, not a whole lot, to be honest, but you do have these ones down here. Nothing too clear, I should say. You do have the pound, I believe that is, the euro down here, but this is kind of a poor perspective. You probably just want to drop to a lower time frame. But again, strength and weakness, overbought, oversold levels. I apologize, I didn't realize this video has been going on for 40 minutes now, so I'll wrap this up. As you can tell, I can talk for days in the markets. So if there's any questions or any inquiries, anything that people aren't sure about or want to learn more about, chances are I've already discovered it, and whether or not I use it or not, I can probably help you guys out. So leave me a comment or whatever, and communicate. Let's help each other get better, because not trying to sound elitist or anything, but anytime I do help somebody learn the markets, every time that I have kind of played that mentor role, it's really helped my trading as well, because it, you know, I have to be crystal clear with things that people don't understand. So it improves everybody. Everybody wins. So let me know what's going on, and good luck.